Hello, my name is Keith Haswell and I'm a professional astrologer with 40 years experience in the business, over 30,000 clients worldwide, and I've got 143 YouTube videos now that are out there helping people to understand more about the nature of reality and their place in that reality. And I've got over 4,000 subscribers now. So it's my pleasure to welcome you to this particular video on ending codependency. Whether it's codependency in a relationship or whether it's codependency with your ego, we want to talk today about ending codependency. Welcome to this video, and let's have some fun together and expand that consciousness of yours, expand that understanding so that you are more equipped to be able to understand yourself and to be able to understand the nature of the reality that you find yourself in here. It's a metaphysical reality. It's a gigantic spiritual classroom. And all of us are charged with the task of controlling the direction of our conscious mind. And our conscious mind, if it's allowed to go on to negative thoughts of worry and fear and anxiety and doubt and insecurity and low self-esteem and problems with our self-image and so forth, then we're pumping up elemental lives that are there in our emotional body that are becoming monsters of our own creation. Now, that negative ego can do terrible damage in its efforts to destroy you. I want to start at this point to elaborate on the fact that your ego can destroy in minutes what it has taken you years to build up in terms of your employment, in terms of relationships with an infidelity or a statement out of place and so forth. You can be in a situation where you got a crisis on your hands. In a single stubborn action, in a single delusion, in a single infidelity, in an indiscretion that can ruin a loving relationship that has lasted for years by destroying the intimacy or destroying the love, even if the other person never finds out about it. The energies that are there in your subconscious mind are now destructive. Even if they never find out about that indiscretion or that infidelity. The lie that can shatter that trust, even though the lie is never exposed. Even if you are the only one who knows about it. The negative ego can destroy in minutes what has taken you a lifetime of work and love to build up. The ego, though, has no power to do it alone. But the damage that the negative ego can do in your life is compounded by the nature of the world that we live in today. Due to the monumental nature of the decade that we are now living through with its new paradigm, and due to the changing patterns of causation, due to the relinquishing of the past and the power that the past has on humanity as they move into the new paradigm, there is an attempt by the reactionary forces in the world, in the religious field, in the ideological field. They want to cling to the past. They want to cling to the old ways of doing things. These reactionary forces are what we're experiencing in the world today that's causing so much chaos in the religious field and in the ideological field. It's also due to the monumental technological advances that we are experiencing today, with the explosion of information or the information explosion, in a time when the world is no longer so big, where we can talk with each other via Skype with loved ones on the other side of the world. Finally, you are living in a global community where actions are no longer a local event, where actions and events are no longer isolated. This is a time where we as a humanity are trying to decide our future. Is it going to be a dream, or is it going to be a nightmare? Or is it something in between? Now this is a very complex video, and so you may have to play it a number of times to get the full gist of what I'm communicating here for you. All this turmoil in the world creates an uncertainty about the future that impacts upon all of us. In this environment, your negative ego, and all of us have a negative ego, make no mistake about that, because all of us have negative emotions within ourselves. No matter how much you seem to have them suppressed, they are still there, ready to come out and express themselves upon the times when you draw the attention of your conscious mind upon those emotions, in times of stress, in times of fear, in times of anxiety. So in this environment, our negative ego can seduce us with promises of surety and certainty. Therefore, more people find themselves attracted towards their negative ego by the very uncertainty and the insecurity in their reality, compared with the surety and the certainty that the negative ego promises, even though it never delivers. Also, you are part of a Western society that demands upward mobility with nowhere to go. Your grandparents and your parents told you about upward mobility, but the situation in the world today is a situation where mobility has nowhere to go, nowhere to develop, and so it goes sideways. And that is called performance and perfection. So you say to yourself, well, I may not be able to go upwards to the degree that I could in the past, but I'll do it more perfectly than anybody else. I'll perform, in other words. So you end up, because there's no scope for moving upwards in the mobility, you perform. You perform, you perform. I'll have 2 jobs, 2 cars, perfect kids who start school at 3 and speak 2 languages by 6. You see, the ego promises perfection, and in its false promises becomes a place to reside more than ever, living a false life based on performance and perfection. Your negative ego encourages you, don't think, don't feel, that only takes time. So it encourages you to make decisions and to make choices without relying on your thoughts and feelings and your intelligence to guide you. As a matter of fact, the whole of society tries to convince you that you don't have time to think and you don't have time to feel. At a time when thinking and feeling is the most important thing to do in times of crisis. But society discourages you from doing so. Watch the television. Get lost in soap operas. Get lost in the world of performance and perfection. So in the world today, we have technology providing you with much more to think and feel about, but society says no, don't bother. People are therefore experiencing greater levels of chaos, insanity in their own personal way, greater levels of panic and greater levels of self-pity, greater levels of fear, anxiety, doubt, insecurity, low self-esteem, problems with our self-image. More and more people are relinquishing their power of choice and the power of discernment and the power of thinking and feeling to their negative ego. And that is why we have such chaos in the world. It's not that people are weaker, it's not that people are de-evolving, it's just that the conditions that seduce, call, whisper, and demand a codependency upon your negative ego are increasing. So to begin to look at you ending your particular codependency, let's look first of all at what codependency is. To do that, it's important to understand that codependency is not just dependency, doing it bigger. Many people looking for the simple answer, not wanting to evaluate from their opinions or to make assessments or discernments, often looking for the no-think answer, just want to say that all dependency is no good, and therefore you should depend on no one. Don't rely on anyone, because that could be dangerous. Neither of these definitions, though, are true. They are simple definitions or no-think definitions. No, all that these definitions produce is an isolated and lonely existence. But, you see, dependency is a part of human nature. It's part of human nature to depend, to rely upon another. Not upon everyone, but a discerning few that we know as intimates. Indeed, in the very process of learning to love, in the very process of learning to be intimate, in the very process of learning to care, are you not indeed learning to depend upon another and to be there for others who depend upon you? Indeed, the whole path of spiritual growth is learning to rely and depend upon your future self, upon your higher self, and upon God, Goddess, all that is. Now, it is our human nature to learn to develop and to depend upon others. So there's nothing wrong with being dependent. But when that dependency becomes destructive, then it is what is called a codependent relationship. We need to understand what is codependency. There are 4 criteria, 4 very specific criteria that exist in a codependent relationship. Not all of them have to exist, but these are the 4 criteria. 1. In order for a relationship to be a codependent relationship, it must involve a dependency that demands adherence to obsessive rules that limit or eliminate thought and feeling, or that limit or eliminate communication between 2 people. As an example, we're not allowed to talk about my mother. We're not allowed to talk about why I lost my job. We can't talk about how much I earn. We're not allowed to talk about why my brother is doing better than me. These are just examples. We can't talk about why we don't go out very often. We can't talk about why we don't communicate very much. We can't talk about why we rarely have sex anymore. This must be the way that the house looks. This must be the way that you keep the house looking. This is how often you can have friends or relatives over. Strict rules that must be adhered to. Can we possibly talk about why I'm not allowed to talk about my mother? Oh, that's it. You've broke the rules. I'm off to the pub. Or in the case of a male experiencing this, oh, that's it. You broke the rules. I'm off to spend time with the girls. You know you're not allowed to talk with me while I'm watching my favourite television show, so that's it, I'm not talking to you now for a week. So the first condition of a codependent relationship is oppressive rules that must be adhered to. The second condition is a dependency that calls upon you to not form loving relationships or intimacies. What does that mean, you ask yourself? It means that it diminishes your capacity to receive love. This friend of yours, for example, is being self-destructive, but you have no capacity to reach out and to help and to guide them and to love them and to be there as a sympathetic ear for them, nor to receive love from them. I cannot give them any pleasure, any security, any sense of vulnerability, and any sense of trust. Why are you talking to the neighbour? Why are you talking on the phone to a friend? Why are you talking on the phone to your relative? Why are you having friends? Why do you want to invite people over? I'm the one that you can turn to, even though I won't allow you. That is a codependent relationship. The third condition of a codependent relationship is a dependency where the other person seems to control your life. Their behaviours control me. Where you seem to be controlled by this person and you become obsessed with controlling their controlling behaviour in order to be free and to have a sense of freedom. I've got to get them to stop drinking. I've got to get them to stop gambling. Then I can be happy. I have to get them to get a decent job, and then I can sleep at night. See the codependency coming in here. I have to get them to stop obsessing. Then I can relax. I have to get them to grow. Then I can be spiritual. My independence, my freedom, my happiness, my spirituality has nothing to do with me, but everything to do with them. Everything to do with controlling them, getting them to change. I'd be happy to grow if I could only get my husband interested in spirituality. I'd be willing to grow if I could only get my wife interested in spirituality. I could grow if only my parents would. I could grow if only my children would. Where I have a situation where their behaviour seems to be controlling me. I'm not working on my growth, I'm working on getting them to approve and allow me to grow. And the fourth condition of a codependent relationship, it's a dependency that exaggerates the need to control to the point where I woefully neglect my needs. Where I not only neglect my needs, but I woefully neglect my needs. I don't sleep properly. I don't eat properly. I don't exercise. I don't look after myself. I totally neglect myself in a woeful and destructive way. They are the 4 criteria for a codependent relationship. Do you have to meet all of these criteria for it to be a codependent relationship? No. But you must meet at least 2 of them. And generally you'll find that there are 4 of them being met in a codependent relationship. There are also those in the metaphysical field who want to dictate oppressive rules. You must only read their books. You must only watch their videos. You must only listen to their CDs and their teachings. You must not listen to material from other teachers. There are cults that say that if you want to form a relationship, you can only form a relationship with one who's in the cult. one of our family. Codependency is a destructive influence. Negative ego is a destructive force. When the two are combined, it's naturally a very destructive influence in your life. In a world with these monumental changes, with these shifting paradigms, with these changing patterns of causation, with a past that is relinquishing its power, and a future that is gathering in influence, in a global community that seems so small that events cannot be isolated, with mass media and social networking and instant communication through Skype with loved ones anywhere in the world, where there seems to be problems that have no solutions, where groups want to drag us back to the past under the threat of terrorism, where religions refuse to modernize their doctrines, where there is such a demand for upward mobility but nowhere to go, where you are discouraged on all sides from thinking and feeling when thinking and feeling is critical and is the only answer in many cases. In the insanity, chaos, and pain that is so evident in your world, it is very easy to slip into a codependency with your negative ego. The remedy, and the only remedy, is consciousness expansion. This video alone, and the fact that you are watching it, you are to be congratulated. It is a consciousness expansion for you. It helps you to understand more about the nature of reality and your place in that reality. Make no mistake about it, the power of your conscious mind is the thing that is determining the power of your emotions. And those emotions many times are negative emotions: fear, anxiety, doubt, insecurity, problems with your self-image, low self-esteem, anxiety, doubt, worry, stress, domination, manipulation, control. All of these things are negative aspects of ourselves, not to mention our addictions to sex, our addictions to bad food, our addictions to overdoing it on the social side of life, addictions to drugs and alcohol and so forth. Look, all of us are facing the same sort of crisis in the world today. And the way to get through the crisis is to be able to direct that energy that comes from your conscious mind. Your conscious mind is being drawn to the attention of these negative emotions, which are lives. They are little lives that are living there in your being, and they want desperately to express themselves as events and conditions in your life. Your negative ego is simply the whole lot of these negative emotions all wrapped into one bundle. And when you fail to discern and fail to discriminate and fail to evaluate, then you give away that power to your negative ego. To your ego, first of all, which then becomes negative because it gets used to having that power. It gets used to saying that jump, and you say, "How high, sir?" So all of us have got these problems. Look, the way to get around it is consciousness expansion. There's no other way for you to be able to become more of who you really are. Consciousness expansion, mastery of the science of meditation. It's so vital. Look, it's very, very important for you. If you haven't yet submitted your birth details through my website, submit your birth details, because I'll be able to send you your horoscope chart and I'll be able to tell you where that important rising sign is. That is your soul plan for this particular lifetime. I'll be able to tell you what aspects that you have in your horoscope there that indicates problems that you bring over with you from past lives. Horoscope number 2, for only $10, you get a deep understanding about the nature of reality and your place in that reality and how you're going on this path of evolution. Even in horoscope number 1 now, you get free the location of your progress moon. And it's so incredible to be able to see that the progress moon, the house that it sits in, is the thing that determines where your focus of your consciousness is for 30 months. The sign that it's going through determines your emotional state for that 30 months. All of this is pointed out for you in the free horoscope number 1 now. So subscribe to my videos, and when I send you your horoscope chart, you also get 12 CDs out of my book, What Really Matters on Astrology, Meditation and Reincarnation, a massive expansion of consciousness for you, which is only the beginning of going through my intensives 2 and 3 from my second book, Coming Home, An Eternal Journey. You will in time develop the power of meditation. You will master the science of meditation. There's no other way for you to grow. Through the inner side of life, through the power of meditation, you can redirect the energies of your conscious mind away from these negative emotions which are vying for your attention, over to the positive emotions and your power, strength and talent, to have the courage to commit to a life that fulfills your dreams and your aspirations. Courage is the willingness to act, even though you don't have all the answers, and even though some of the answers that you do have are wrong. Courage is the willingness to be wrong in the pursuit of what's right. Courage is the refusal to live a life that does not reflect your truth. So I thank you for your attentiveness here. I look forward to working further with you should you decide to submit your birth details, and let's have some fun together and let's expand that consciousness of yours. Let's expand that goodness, truth and beauty. By now my website address will have popped up on the screen, so you can always rewind the video to that particular point and get that website address. Come to my website and see what's on offer. I'm happy to help you to grow and reach and stretch and unfold that goodness, truth and beauty there within yourself. Thank you.